Hello everyone, welcome to Biology 101. This is Amrita and let's start part 4 of the chapter Digestion and Absorption. We are coming to end of this chapter, so let's start some topics. Absorption of digested products. Now after digestion we see absorption, after what happens after digestion. So end products go to the blood or lymph. Now absorption can be of three types: passive, active and facilitated. Now passage of these substances into blood depends upon the concentration gradients. They have given some examples in the NCERT itself, but this is a little bit confusing. What I am saying is what my teachers taught me. It would be great if you ask your teachers as well. Now glucose, amino acids, chloride ions go by simple diffusion. Glucose, amino acids, carrier proteins, that is by use of carrier proteins, that is called facilitated. In facilitated one we use carrier proteins. In passive it goes by from higher concentration to lower concentration without the use of energy. Active mein it goes from lower to higher with the use of energy. So glucose, amino acids facilitated with the help of carrier proteins. Water, osmotic gradient, we all know that. Now glucose, amino acids and sodium ion active against gradient and it needs energy. Against gradient active, it needs energy. I already told that. Now fatty acids plus glycerol are insoluble. So they are made into small droplets, micelles, and they go into the intestinal mucosa, reformed as protein coated fat molecule, that is chylomicrons. It's protein coated fat molecules, and these go to the lymph vessels in villi that are called lacteals. We have already learned that. Now these release them into the bloodstream. This is the whole process for fatty acids and glycerol. Because they are insoluble, they are made into chylomicrons and then go to the lymph vessels and then release into the bloodstream. This is given in NCERT step by step. Now next we'll see what and all gets absorbed in which places. Now in mouth, drugs which come in contact with mucosa of mouth and lower side of tongue, that is what gets absorbed in the mouth. Now in stomach, water, simple sugar, alcohol. Small intestine, main organ, digestion is completed here. This is important. Digestion is completed here. Finer products are absorbed in small intestine like glucose, fructose, fatty acids, glycerol, amino acids. In large intestine, water, some minerals and drugs. All these are given in tabular form in textbook. I have just written like this for better understanding. Even tabular form is easy for you, you can use that. Now after absorption it is assimilation, that is the usage of the nutrition. Now what happens to the waste? The waste is solidified into coherent feces in rectum. In rectum it is solidified through a natural reflex, urge to remove and removal through anal opening, that is called defecation. It's a voluntary movement and mass peristaltic movement is required for. So for the final topic of this chapter we have the disorders of digestive system. Now the first line of the topic given here says most commonly inflammations of intestinal tract by bacteria or virus or infections by tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, pinworm, hookworm. Now this is given in textbook, but even most of us just tend to overlook this sentence and go to the disorders directly, right? But even I discovered this line after reading so many times of this textbook. So most commonly inflammation of intestinal tract by bacteria or virus or the infections by tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, pinworm, hookworm. This is the most common disorder of the digestive system. That is what they say in the textbook. Now then they come to the diseases by naming them. So first one is jaundice, where the liver is affected. We all know that liver is affected in jaundice. Even the skin, eyes become yellowish due to the deposition of bile pigments. And second one is vomiting. Vomiting, ejection of stomach contents through the mouth. The vomit center is in medulla. The reflex of vomiting is controlled in the medulla. Now there is a feeling of nausea, that is a feeling of wanting to vomit before the actual vomiting. Now third one is diarrhea. Diarrhea, abnormal frequency of bowel movement. That is defecation happens in abnormal frequency. Increase, there are two, they have given two characteristics of the fecal matter, that is liquidity of the fecal matter. Second one,
that is more liquidity of the fecal matter and less absorption of food. Because the food is absorbed less, fecal matter happens in abnormal frequency, that is more number of times than the usual one. So next is constipation. Feces retained in the colon, irregular bowel movement. Now they might give a differentiation, right? Here it is abnormal frequency, here it is irregular bowel movement. Now they say you have to learn each and every line of NCERT, so this is difference. Abnormal frequency is diarrhea and irregular bowel movement is constipation. Do remember. Then we have indigestion. There are various causes. Food not digested properly, feeling full, less enzyme secretion, anxiety, food poison, overeating, spicy food. Not only whatever we eat only affects it, even the anxiety and even tension, stress that we all have, that also affects our body. Now the last part of this chapter, this is also very important. Many questions come based on this as well. Now we have PEM. What is PEM? Protein, energy, malnutrition. There are two types of malnutrition, marasmus and kwashiorkor. Now what is PEM? Is deficiency of protein and total food calorie. It happens mainly in South Asia, Southeast Asia, South America, West and Central Africa. Now they have given two separate paragraphs for marasmus and kwashiorkor, but reading that and writing down a tabular form, whenever you study, try to make it into a tabular form. I know you have heard many people say this, but it is really useful. You can just write in a tabular form or a flow chart. Just draw it and write it in your own words. You will remember it for more time than you just read it. So marasmus, kwashiorkor. Now first one, marasmus is the deficiency of both proteins and calories. Kwashiorkor only protein deficiency. Marasmus, infants less than 1 year, replacement of, this happens when replacement of mother's milk with food poor in protein and calorie when the second pregnancy is very near to the first one. That means first is newborn is born like in January, and then the mother gets pregnant again within 1 year of the first child. Then the first child will not be cared much, right? That is the milk secretion of the mother and all. When we see that, the first child will not be given proper mother's milk and also there will be replacement of mother's milk with food poor in protein and calorie. Now due to that, marasmus happens. Extreme emaciation of the body, thinning of limbs, skin becomes dry, thin, wrinkled, growth rate, brain development, weight all decreases, no fat is left under the skin. But in kwashiorkor only protein deficiency. Marasmus mein we have deficiency of both protein and calorie. In kwashiorkor the child is more than 1 year of age. Now replacement of mother milk with food more in calories but less in proteins. That's why here protein deficiency, because less protein, more calorie, no calorie deficiency. Now wasting of the muscle, thinning limbs, less brain development, both we have brain development less both sides. Some fat is present under the skin, but here no fat is left under the skin. Edema, swelling. Edema is basically swelling. So these are the major things here.